again in the home stadium of the Browns. The two quarterbacks rivalry extends to candy bars as Boomer and Bernie are ready to meet again. This time it's in the dog pound.
NBC Sports presents the National Football League. Today, it's the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Stadium has been sold out for months for this one, with the chill factors taking game conditions down to 10 below zero. Winds 35 miles an hour, but the Bengals and the Browns are ready. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Don Crickey on a day that winter has come full force to northern Ohio. Cleveland Stadium, a battleground as the arch rivals, the Bengals and the Browns, teeing up in a game they both have to win. Most important day. Ahmad Rashad joins us. And Ahmad, you know these conditions well from your playing days with the Vikings. How much will weather come into play?
Well, you know, weather is something that people that don't play football spend a lot of time talking about. When you're a player and you have a game of this magnitude, the game takes precedence over the weather.
The Cleveland Browns need offense. Their quarterback, Bernie Kosar, has had problems throwing the ball since injuring his elbow over a month ago. He's not thrown a touchdown pass in 10 quarters, but he seemed confident yesterday at practice.
He really did. He's had a bad elbow. He's had 10 days off to rest that elbow, and it's really not so much Bernie Kosar's elbow that has really hampered this team's offense. It's the fact that they haven't had anybody to run inside. Now, today, I think that they're going to have a guy come back and give him that inside running ability, and that's Kevin Mack. He's the guy that'll really take all the pressure, not only off Kosar, but also off the young rookie, Eric Metcalf.
Boomer Esiason, the quarterback of the Bengals, said this is the most important game of our lives. Somebody said, what about the Super Bowl last January?
Well, to us, it's the same thing, he said. No, he's up.
They have backed themselves into such a corner. Last week, they said that it was the most important game of the year. Now, all of a sudden, they come in here, and it really is the most important game of the year. They need a tremendous game here today just to try to get back to where they were last year. This is their last chance. If they lose here, then they got to deal with all those ifs, ands, and buts and playoffs and all that kind of stuff.
Sam White has been predicting a divisional championship all along, but his team has lost 5 of its last 7, 3 of its last 4. The intensity of this rivalry is something to behold. It is one of the great matchups in the NFL as the Cleveland Browns are ready to kick it off. Brian Wagner is their kickoff man. Stanford Jennings and Kendall Smith. Back deep now for the Bengals. The kick with the wind at his back carries down to about the 11, where Kendall Smith will take it back and give the Bengals relatively good field position as he advances the ball on the far sideline out across the 30-yard line. Clifford Charlton, a linebacker for Cleveland, coming down to make the play on special teams. So we now look at the offensive line that'll protect Boomer Esiason, the consensus All-Pro Munoz. At left tackle, Kozerski's back at center after missing last week with an injury. Esiason having a great year. James Brooks over 1,000 rushing. Holman, the best tight end in football in the opinion of many, comes out when they go to the 4 wide receiver set with Hillary and Kendall Smith coming in. Mike Martin, who usually comes in, is out. On first down, they go to the run, and James Brooks takes a hard strike from the Cleveland defense at the line of scrimmage. Mike Johnson, number 59, the middle linebacker and the leading tackler for the Browns, made the hit. The Browns front 4, the player that the Bengals fear the most is Michael Dean Perry, the refrigerator's younger brother, his little brother at 280, a very quick defensive tackle from Clemson. Clay Matthews having a terrific year again at outside backer. The corners are 2 of the best in football in Minifield and Dixon. Harper will come in to give the extra DB. When he can, of course, the Bengals are known for going into alignment without a huddle. Second down and 9 now for Cincinnati on this opening drive. And markers are all over the field. Al Baker jumped, but we'll see if he was motion in the offensive line that may have pulled him off.
Michael Dean Perry's quickness a lot of times.
Full start, number 63, offense.
It causes so many problems in that offensive line because they know that as soon as that ball snapped, Michael Dean is coming right away. And there you just see just a confusion there on the snap count by Joe Walter.
Walter, after knee surgery, finally playing back into form. Sam White says this is the first time all season we've really had our offensive line intact, where everybody's in good health. Second down and about 4 after the penalty against Cleveland. Lone setback is Brooks. James Brooks takes it right at the Cleveland defense and breaks ahead for a Cincinnati first down. Matthews, 57, was on the stop. Cincinnati is the #1 rushing team in the National Football League, averaging 4.8 yards a carry. Brooks a great one, but he's been troubled by fumbles in the recent games. He has 6 fumbles in the last 6 games. He fumbled twice in a loss last week at Buffalo.
Well, one of the problems with James Brooks, he's had some bad ribs, and that's one of the worst injuries that a running back can have, because he rests that ball right on those ribs. And you take somebody and thump him on the ribs with a broken rib, and I guarantee you they'll cough that ball up. So he's got to protect those ribs.
He changed that rib pad today. Now they get set to go on 3rd down and about 6. Esiason tip ball. Cleveland's excellent at picking it up, but this one is taken down by a Bengal. Kendall Smith, number 83, got the tip ball. Cleveland has 22 interceptions. And Cleveland has the highest scoring defense in the NFL. This defensive unit of the Browns has scored 6 touchdowns this year, Ahmad.
What they have, if they ever get an interception, they have some fine athletes that can really run the ball after the interception. Now, this is a play that I'm sure Sam White is knowledgeable and tricky as he is writing up an offense. I'm sure he didn't draw this up this way. It goes right off the helmet of a Brown player, and then it's picked up by Kendall Smith.
The live action, and the Browns come attacking the run. James Brooks being pounded out as they try to knock the ball free. Matthews, the outside linebacker, the veteran from Southern California, a 4-time Pro Bowl player, again leads the Cleveland tacklers. 57, Clay Matthews.
These weather conditions, a lot of times, Clay Matthews is a guy that's played for 12 years. He said he might want to play 30 years. And he keeps himself in such great condition, and he hasn't lost anything in the last few years, making the Pro Bowl team.
See the contrasting strengths of the two teams. The Bengals move the ball. The Browns defend against. The run very well and the pass. Esiason on 2nd and 11. A long ball. He has a man open, and the connection is not made as Tim McGee, sprinting to the far sideline, is overthrown at the 15. But Tim McGee, a national class sprinter out of Tennessee, the fastest Bengal, had 2 or 3 steps on the Brown defense. Harper was defending.
Boomer Esiason wasting no time. He's not worried about that win. He puts a tight spiral up there and just misses his receiver. A lot of times you can't let the weather dictate to your offense totally. Look, Minifield is now in the Cincinnati Bengals huddle. They're right at the line of scrimmage, and Minifield said, if they're going to stay that close, I'm going to go up and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, he goes right into the huddle, Frank Minifield. Third down and just over 10 for Cincinnati. Opening drive. Esiason throws a strike to fast Eddie Brown, who's inside the 30 and down to the 27-yard line. And the Bengals, who've beaten the Browns twice in the last 5 years here at Cleveland Stadium, hit for a 24-yard gainer on 3rd and long, and the Bengals keep the opening drive going.
Sam White's there sending signals in. And here's Boomer Esiason. You know what worries you when you have a guy like Eddie Brown who's been quiet the last couple of weeks? With his ability, you know that he's going to explode sooner or later. And he starts off today with his first catch of 24 yards. Talked to him before the game, and he said, you know, I just have not, but they haven't thrown the ball to me lately. I just need some catches.
They only went to him once last week at Buffalo. And now, as the snow starts to come down harder and the winds kick up maybe to 40 miles an hour, the Browns attack the runner, James Brooks again. Cleveland signaling fumble. We'll see what the official says. He does. James Brooks loses the ball again, and Cleveland stops the opening Cincinnati drive. With Michael Dean Perry came up with the ball.
Michael Dean Perry is a force. Van Waiters, number 50, coming in, gets a nice shot on James Brooks. The ball gets loose and just rolls right into Michael Dean Perry's arms.
So the Browns defense stops the opening drive of Cincinnati. Kosar set to go to work when we come back.
Browns have just made a big play by forcing James Brooks to fumble. But, you know, this is the area that Cincinnati really misses Ickey Woods. Because when it got down close, they could always go to Ickey, and he was a guy that would just pound it and pound it and pound it. There you see Ickey Woods on the sideline. I said, Ickey, how's your rehab coming? He said, it's coming great, but I had to take a pause because a big game like this, I got to come down here and support my boys.
So Woods is on the sideline, but he's inactive. The Browns do have their best runner of recent years, Kevin Mack, back, and we expect to see him. Kosar with the drop on first down, swings it out to elusive Eric Metcalf. But the Cincinnati defense, which has given up a lot of yards, is in position to hem him in. Metcalf can go the distance on any play. Greg Riccozzi, the center, has come under fire. He was beaten by the Lions nose tackle Jerry Ball in that lost Thanksgiving Day. Riccozzi said, "I'm angry. Our whole team's angry." See if that does any good. Kosar, trouble with the bad arm, as we mentioned. No TD passes for 10 quarters. Metcalf will come out on certain plays. Lawyer Tillman, an excellent rookie from Auburn, will come in, along with the aptly named Ice Cube, Gerald McNeil. Chill factors 10 below and dropping. No score. Browns opening possession. Metcalf, a 3.3 per carry rusher, breaks one. The rookie from Texas, who was the 13th player drafted in the first round. Might come back, though, as there's a holding call signaled against Cleveland. So now Ahmad Kosar has to work from a deficit again, just what they wanted to keep him out of.
This, when I talked to Mark Trestman, their offensive coordinator, these are the kind of things that have really killed this offense. Not so much the ineffectiveness of burning Kosar.
Holding, number 63, offense, second down.
Cody Rison.
But the turnovers, the mental errors, and like a holding penalty, these are things that really, I mean, it's hard to work behind a holding penalty or a turnover.
There is Bud Carson, the Browns' new head coach this year, a defensive specialist who coached 2 defenses at Pittsburgh that won Super Bowls and one at Los Angeles with the Rams that went to the Super Bowl.
Bud Carson, the kind of coach that challenges the players. They got to play. There's no other way out of it right now.
He was tough on him this week, and here is Metcalf caught in the backfield. As Cincinnati's best linebacker this season, 51, Leon White, shoots the gap and makes the knockdown. Loss on the play. The front 7, McClendon in again for injured Jim Scow. White, Xander Kelly, and Reggie Williams back the line. The nickel defense brings in new people. Tua Tagovailoa, Bussey, and Barker will be in. Bengals have given up a lot of yardage. Billups and Thomas, 2 good corners. Fulcher, a tremendous force at strong safety, although the Bills got him out of position last week and then blocked him and ran the other way and really ran for big yardage. 228 yards against Cincinnati. On long yardage, Kosar drops. Here's a long throw near side, taken down by Langhorne, but it'll be way short of a first down.
It's just, you know, you got a quarterback with a sore elbow, and you put him in a situation of 3rd and long like that. That's just not the ideal way that you want to try to get your offense moving.
Crowd just big rise here at Cleveland as the Steelers have gone in front of the Houston Oilers in a most important AFC Central game on Gary Anderson's 18-yard field goal in the first quarter. Buddy the Bounty Hunter has brought his Eagles to Giant Stadium, where they're up in front of the Giants 7-0. The punt downfield by Wagner is taken and almost lost by Kendall Smith. Now he finds a channel and gets the ball out to the 48-yard line.
I tell you, Don, the tough thing about special teams today, because of this wind, a lot of times you can't kick the ball up in the air. You kick those line drives like that, there is a chance that that ball turns around and goes the other way.
We're set to go. Don Criqui with Ahmad Rashad. Bengals second possession after a Cleveland punt. No score first quarter. And Esiason throwing into the wind is going to, no, he gets away from the sack but cannot make the connection. Holman, his tight end, cannot come down with the hard thrown ball. It'll be second down and 10 now for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Al Bubba Baker was there with the pressure, but now you will see how strong a quarterback like Boomer Esiason is. Watch Bubba Baker come in there. He just ducks up underneath him, and Esiason's still able to get the ball off. But it's hard to catch this ball when you throw a ball like that. It wavers in the wind. I mean, it starts out coming at you one way, and right at the last minute, it'll move on you.
Browns 6th in the NFL on defense. They again attack the runner on a 2nd and 10 play. Big Daddy Hairston makes the stop on 36 Stanford Jennings, and there's a gain of only about a yard, so it'll be 3rd down and 9 as McGee comes in from the sideline with the play for Cincinnati.
Both these teams, you used to talk about Cleveland. They get you here in the wintertime. They put those 2 big backs, Mack and Biner, on you. Well, the Bengals used to have Ickey Woods, and they don't have him at this point. They don't have a back in there that can just, you know, take it down to a level where it's just going to be tough guy on tough guy.
3rd down and 9 for Cincinnati. No score first quarter, 7:26 to play in it. Esiason steps in, makes the release, and Eddie Brown makes another reception very close to a first down. Might call for a spot. It looks like the nose of the ball might be there, Ahmad, as the linesman puts the ball down, and we'll see if it's a first down for the Bengals. So Boomer hits on 3rd and 9 as Eddie Brown, you're pointing out, wasn't getting much attention in the recent weeks, catches 2 balls early in this game.
An all-pro player like Eddie Brown, you can't keep him down for long. And here's a nice route, and very nice throw by Esiason, and Brown showing that, you know, he really didn't have that first down once he caught the ball. He ran up and past that mark.
And the Browns now have given up 3 first down conversions on 3 tries by the Bengal offense. First down, James Brooks. Last carry was a fumble, and there's Michael Dean Perry. I don't know how much you've heard about Michael Dean Perry, but the Cincinnati coaches think this is one of the best linemen in the National Football League in his 2nd year.
We have not heard enough about Michael Dean Perry. When he came into the league, everybody said, oh, yeah, that's the refrigerator's brother. But no, he has surpassed that. Not only is the refrigerator's brother, he is one of the best in the business. He's so quick. They say he's so quick that they wouldn't be surprised if he takes a handoff sometime before the season's over.
A very wise draft choice by Cleveland. He was picked in the 2nd round out of Clemson.
They say the only way to stop him is to hold him, and everybody's tried to do that.
Now it's 2nd down and about 13 to go for the first down in the scoreless first quarter. Esiason with a deep drop. Markers down, and the pass is incomplete as again he looks at Eddie Brown. Running on the play against Frank Minifield.
Like a little illegal procedure. It looked like Stanford Jennings got a quick start. Just before the ball was snapped, there was some movement in the backfield. See what Jerry Markbrad has to say about that.
Illegal motion foul. Number 36, offense. Penalty decline. 3rd down.
Now watch just before the snap of the ball, number 36, right in the middle of your screen. He's already moving to the left. And that's the penalty.
Esiason on 3rd and 13 takes it ahead for very close to first down yardage. He'll be short of it. It'll bring up 4th and less than 2 yards. And now this is a very difficult call because this wind is swirling. It's almost impossible, I think, to try a field goal here. Breach is not long range.
And they don't have Ickey Woods, the big power back, to just pound it through. When talking to Bud Carson, this is one of the things he worried about, was trying to cover all their receivers and then have Boomer take off on one of these runs, because Boomer is a better than adequate runner as a quarterback.
The flag was on the field from a previous play. There was a yellow flag down as Bud Carson calls the defense. He said of his defense, we haven't been attacking like I'd like. We've been getting out hit on defense. I want to see more reckless play.
I was in their locker room before the game, and the guys that were all fired up was that Cleveland defense.
Eric Ball now in the backfield as Coach White looks on. 4th down and 2 for Cincinnati. Boomer's a good sprint out man on plays like this. Esiason gives, and diving ahead very close to the first down, but apparently short of it is the rookie from West Virginia, Craig Taylor. Browns think they're going to take it over. That was a 4th and 2 play, and the spot is short of the first down. Thane Gash, the free safety, came up to play the run.
Sam White's going with this play on 4th down, and here you see the Bengal offensive line powering out, but Thane Gash very quick to come up and have that run support, and that's 2 big plays.
Coach White, forced to go for it on 4th down, comes up empty, and the Browns get the ball for a second time when we come back. The Browns take over the ball after stopping Cincinnati on a 4th and 2 try. Cincinnati with almost 5 yards of rush on the average. Figure the odds were with them. Running the ball on a short yardage play on 4th down, but they didn't get there. And now, with no score on the board and 4:55 to play in the first quarter, Kosar drops to throw on 1st down, airs it out, and makes the connection sideline, but it's lost by Webster Slaughter.
Those are the kind of balls that Bernie was telling me that are awful tough to throw in this kind of wind that's swirling and blowing across the field. A lot of times, if you let that ball float up a little bit, it'll blow it all the way off the field. Webster Slaughter on a very nice route here. Drives the man deep and then comes back for the reception. Now, the ball right now is fading on him. It's fading on him. He has it in his hands. That looked like a catch to me. Looked like the ground knocked the ball out. Webster Slaughter, one of the finest receivers in the league. Here's another look. Webster stretching out, left foot's down, right foot's down. The ball's in his hands. As he comes down, he's still got it. Now it comes out.
I think they're going to look at that, Ahmad. He may indeed have a catch. We had a chance to visit with Webster yesterday. He was looking for a big day. He's been quiet for a while despite having an overall excellent season.
Just like Eddie Brown, there are certain receivers you can't keep down for long, and Webster Slaughter is one of them. That is a very fine play from an all-pro receiver in Webster Slaughter. Watch, both feet are down. The ball is in his hands. He drags the right foot. Now, as he comes down, now the ball's knocked out.
Yeah.
That looks like a reception to me.
Well, that's what Bill Swanson, the replay official, is checking. The referee on the field is Jerry Markbright. Slaughter with 52 catches for the year, but he's not caught a touchdown pass since October 29th against Houston. He's caught 52, 5 for TDs. That might be his 53rd.
He's only about 160 pounds, but he just runs such great routes. He is fearless. Just like another Cleveland Brown receiver that used to be here a long time, Paul Warfield. And Paul would smile if he watched this play, because that's very nice footwork there.
After further review, the play stands. Second down.
Well, it impressed me, but I guess it didn't impress the replay judges.
The 45-second clock should say 5 seconds.
Now they got to reset the 45-second clock to 5 seconds. If you joined us late, Cleveland, Ohio has chill factors 10 degrees below zero and dropping as winds are gusting 35 to 40 miles an hour off the lake. The temperature at kickoff time 20 degrees.
The ruling on that last play, Don, was inconclusive.
That's usually the catch-all. You see the flag tattered and worn from blowing in the wind high atop Cleveland Stadium. Mother Nature, a powerful force today as Kosar takes some time, runs out of it, makes the connection over the middle, short of a first down, but he does get plus yardage outside his 35-yard line, going to 200-pound Reggie Langhorne.
Bernie Kosar looking for somebody out in the left flat, not able to find a receiver there, and very wisely and quickly finds Langhorne over the middle. You see Kosar, he's looking for Eric Metcalf. Metcalf is covered to the right, and Kosar turns around and gets leveled, but he doesn't seem to show any effects from that sore elbow.
Well, we watched him yesterday. The elbow was heavily taped. Injured against the Seattle Seahawks on November 12th, and he re-injured the next week. He was really on a hot streak before the injury. Here is a throw downfield, but markers are down all over. If the play goes, it's good for a Cleveland first down. Out to the 45-yard line as quick little Brian Brennan, a elusive third down possession receiver from Boston College, gets free, but we'll see what the marker is that's down at the line. Came on a 3rd and 4 play.
And talking about Bernie's elbow, he said, yeah, my elbow hurts, but you show me a football player that's not hurting in December.
That's right.
Offside, number 72, defense, penalty decline, first down.
Play goes. McClendon, the defensive left end of the Bengals, jump. There he is in the neutral zone and can't get back before Riccozzi snaps the ball. So Kosar's completion to Brennan is good for a Cleveland Brown first down to the 45-yard line.
Brennan is another player playing with injury. He's got a stretched medial collateral ligament in his knee and says that he just doesn't feel right, but the game's too big for him to sit out.
Comes in and makes the play. That's the Browns' first down. Pitch back, Eric Metcalf. On first down, he's ahead for maybe 2 or 3 yards. 5'9", 180. His dad led the NFL twice in all-purpose yardage. Terry Metcalf, you play with him out at the St. Louis Cardinals.
Grew up with him. One of the neighborhood boys.
Is that right?
That's right.
Terrific young man, Eric. Kansas City out in front of Miami. Pittsburgh still holding to a 3-0 lead over the Oilers. Patriots, who dominated the Colts at New England, are out in front. Philadelphia extending its lead over the Giants. Second down comes up for the Cleveland Browns. 2:50 to play. First quarter, there's no score. Second down, and Kosar needs 8. He gets it. Makes the completion to Webster Slaughter. So Kosar, short arm and all, triggers in that fastball. And Slaughter, cutting behind the defenders, makes the play for a head for a gain on the play of 14 yards.
Webster Slaughter, a great release off the line of scrimmage, gets down there and gets the distance, and now watch him run a little bit after the catch. But, you know, on that one play, watch Vernon Kosar's delivery. This ball gets there in a hurry, so we will lay the rest. That whole thing about him having a bad elbow, that's gone.
A lot of people have not thought the elbow was a lot better when Bud Carson told all the Cincinnati writers how bad it was.
A little gamesmanship in the Battle of Ohio.
He's hit 5 of 6 now, has Kosar for 36 yards. Metcalf moving behind the left side of his line. Banker and Farron gets down to the 35-yard line of the Bengals. This is the Browns' deepest penetration as the first quarter with the clock running shows 1:40 to play. Metcalf was one of the most recruited players in America. Out of Bishop O'Connell High School in Arlington, Virginia. Texas won out. He was a fantastic player for the Longhorns. A 27-foot long jumper. The AFC Central, it is boxed. Top to bottom, everybody got a shot, and Pittsburgh as good as anybody. They're leading Houston today, and the Steelers' next 3 opponents are all losing teams. 2nd and 6 for Kosar and the Browns as the veteran Ozzie Newsome goes in motion to lead the blockers. Barry Redden takes it ahead and gets it close to the 32-yard line. It'll be well short of a first down. Browns had only 70 yards rushing in their last game against Detroit, and 38 of them came on one run by Barry Redden for a touchdown.
I think that's why we're going to see a lot more of Barry Redden. Barry Redden, a very fine back when he was out in Los Angeles, and he just has not got enough reps. He says he's been getting them in practice. He just hasn't had his number called. I asked him if he think he was going to play a lot today, and he said, well, you know, Bud Carson's looking for some running offense. I think I'm going to play today.
Brian Brennan, the second player up, is a player that Kosar likes a lot on short yardage downs like this. 3rd down and 4. Brennan in the slot, 4 wide receivers. Kosar takes a look. Out ball goes, and it's almost picked off. The throw was to Webster Slaughter. Ricky Dixon came up on the play and got his hands on the ball, almost intercepted. That brings up 4th down. The Browns working with a swirling wind at their backs in this first quarter.
Very good coverage by Dixon here. He's right on Webster Slaughter. The ball's a little bit behind Slaughter, but that happens when you try to throw those cross-the-field patterns in this wind. I'm sure Bernie aimed that ball a little bit farther out in front, but the wind blew it back. Ricky Dixon right there to make the play.
Matt Barr, who has a career longest 52 yards, is ready to try a 50-yarder. He's hit 13 of 17 this season. Field goal attempts. It's on the way. He's got plenty in it, but he is wide to the left. And so the Browns' first scoring opportunity comes up short. Or wide. And with 14 seconds to go in the first quarter, Cincinnati is ready to go back on offense in this scoreless game.
A week anywhere in the USA.
Got some tough folks in the stands here today. You got to be tough to last this one out. It's been sold out, as mentioned earlier, for months. No score. Bengals go on offense now. 1st down and 10 after the missed 50-yard field goal attempt wide left by Matt Barr. James Brooks breaks it for the moment. And then the Brown linebackers running and tackling, and the strong safety also coming up. Thane Gash got a hit on him. Al Bubba Baker got an arm to slow him down. And that'll do it for the first quarter of play. So through the first 15 minutes, there's nothing up. Browns and the Bengals are scoreless here on a frigid day at Cleveland Stadium on the shores of Lake Erie. A pound.
These are grown people, Don, responsible adults here that get fired up about it.
On game day, they go crazy. But this weather condition so far has probably limited the passing game. We have had 1 turnover. I think now we're going to see more in addition to the Brooks fumble.
Well, you know, as the game goes on, you start to adjust to the weather. So the thing is, you just can't fumble. You can't blame it on the weather. You can blame it on nothing. You must just play better, or else you go out the back door.
Well, Cincinnati is virtually out of the running if they lose this game. Sam Weitz is very open about that, but he remains optimistic. He says with every fiber of his soul he believes they're going to win the division. But with every fiber of his soul he's going to be home for Christmas after that Minnesota game, unless they win this one. Here on a turn of the corner is the very elusive James Brooks. Brooks had a great answer when a reporter asked him about his fumbling problems. Said, remember one thing, on any play I can go all the way.
A coach never bothers a running back about James Brooks like James Brooks about fumbling. I mean, it's something he can never say. They don't have any drills in football that you can practice, you know, keeping from fumbling. It just happens. But with a guy like Brooks, you just got to keep giving him the ball, because the fact of the matter is, on any play, he can go all the way. He puts tremendous pressure on the defense, and when you start going for the ball, that's when he slips a tackle and takes it down the field.
Bengals going now on short yardage. It's third down and less than a yard. Brooks caught, breaks it. First down Bengals as James Brooks makes the play and gets across the 45-yard line.
Van Waiters had a chance to just snuff this play deep in the backfield, and Brooks turned on a little bit of speed, broke a tackle, and ran it through for the first down. You see Van Waiters at number 50. He's upset at himself because he had a chance to make a big play here. There, Brooks with the ball. Van Waiters with a chance. Brooks runs right through the tackle and then turns on the speed and comes up with the first down.
Brooks with 1,018 yards coming into the game. He scored 7 touchdowns, 5.8 a carry. As Esiason, after a play fake, throws and makes a connection. And what a play by Tim McGee as he takes a brutal shot from Thane Gash. But Tim McGee, a gamer, pops right up, and he has first down yardage, 14 yards downfield.
Great catch by Tim McGee. Nice. He gets inside Minifield at first. Now he leans out and then breaks it back across the middle. Now you expect this hit. Every receiver, you come across the middle, you know there's a free safety in there. Here's another look at it right at the end. Boomer just puts the ball on a rope. Nice catch, man. Nice hit. But, you know, you got to take those.
Occupational hazard.
That's right. Jumped right up and ran back to the line of scrimmage. It looked worse than it was.
And you must also remember when Boomer Esiason drops to throw, he's one of the best runners in the NFL at the QB position, averaging almost 6 yards a carry. On first down, lofts the ball. Man is open, and the catch is made down at the 10-yard line by Tim McGee. McGee, with consecutive all-pro plays, brings the Bengals down to the Cleveland 10-yard line. Down to the 8 is the spot.
When you make a big play like the play he made the last time where he just got nailed by Thane Gash, your confidence level goes right through the roof. And I'm sure that's why Boomer came right back and threw it to him again. Watch the extension at the end of this play. This ball's overthrown. Tim McGee lays out and makes a great 29-yard reception there. There's a time to make great plays. That's in big games, and that's what McGee just did.
That was an extraordinary play by Tim McGee. And now it's first and goal in the scoreless game. Lofted ball, and there's nobody. Yes, there is. The tight end Riggs comes up, but can't hold on. A timing pad, and the ball seemed to hang, and Riggs caught up with it. Van Waiters was defending, but Riggs couldn't hold on. Big Daddy Hairston is down for the Browns, but appears to be getting up.
A great touch pattern here by Boomer Esiason. It appears that he's playing the wind. He just throws it up in the wind, lets the wind blow it around a little bit. It comes right down to Riggs, and he's not able to make the play. We talked about making big plays in big games. He certainly had a chance to make that play and should have. Boomer realizing the same thing, that should have been a touchdown right there. You don't get a lot of chances.
Big Daddy Hairston, one of the leaders of the Browns, a 14-year veteran, a former Philadelphia Eagle. In practice yesterday, he was wearing a pair of brown work shoes. Said, I'm a working man, getting set to go to work.
There, number 50. He thinks he's got that ball set. It blows over his head. Riggs has a chance to make the play. And in a big game like this, when you're trying to win, you got to make that catch. There's no excuse for dropping that ball.
But a drop it was, and now second down and goal arises for the Bengals on the Cleveland 8-yard line. 12:34 to play in the first half. There's no score as Esiason changes the play. Two receivers stacked to the left. That's Holman to the lower right. Handoff. James Brooks. Browns are there to get him. Defensive front of the Cleveland Browns runs him down. Chris Pike, a huge defensive tackle, 6'9", 290 pounds. Number 75 got him along with Robert Banks. And and there's a marker down on the field also.
They got a holding penalty, it looks like. One of the things that the Browns thought coming into this game in order to keep James Brooks down was to try to keep him running sideways. Don't let him turn the ball up the field.
Sam White calling the offense. It came on a 2nd and 8 play.
Holding, number 75, offense.
Bruce Reimers, left guard, 75, call for holding.
There's another play. You watch the Brown defense just stretching this play out. What they want to do is try to make this man, James Brooks, 21, run sideways, and then when he cuts the ball back upfield, the pursuit will get him.
So after that exceptional reception by Tim McGee, the 29-yard diving catch that took the ball down to the 8-yard line of Cleveland and made it 1st and goal, the penalty has now moved the ball back to the 18-yard line where it's 2nd down and goal from there.
This makes Jim Briggs' drop get a little bit bigger right here, Don.
The field goal from here is no sure thing in these swirling, frigid conditions. Winds gusting up to 30 miles an hour, maybe higher. Esiason steps in, makes the throw, and he makes the connection down to the 6-yard line. Ira Hillary running a crossing pattern, turns out on the strong safety Felix Wright. Makes the play. Steelers continue to lead the Oilers 3-0 on the Anderson field goal. Kansas City has extended its lead now to 13-0 over Miami. Two Stavrovsky field goals have put the Patriots in front. Giants have scored on a touchdown pass, 41 yards, Sims to Ingram. Green Bay scoring on a Mikowski to Sterling Sharp pass.
You know, there was some question about the strength of Boomer's arm. I think that's been erased here today, too.
They had arm problems, very serious arm problems in the offseason, but his gun is back to full power as the handoff goes to James Brooks, and he's not going to get there on 3rd and goal. And another fumble. Browns say they have it. We'll see what the official says. James Brooks fumbles again. 8 fumbles in the last 5 games.
The bad thing about a person that gets a reputation as a fumbler, and I'm sure Sam White knows this, is that everybody starts growing for the ball. Until you get that reputation.
Now another official in Mott's calling the ball down. Tim McGee's up and jumping around in celebration. Thane Gash coming off with the ball, but let's watch again.
Just an inside handoff to James Brooks. Now as he gets stopped, Thane Gash has got an arm on. Now watch Clay Matthews. He's trying to rip for the ball. Number 97, Banks, is also pulling it. Now the ball pops up. Clay Matthews pulled it right out of James Brooks' hands, and Thane Gash falls on the ball. Now, that is a fumble. Here's the handoff to Brooks. Brooks trying to get through the middle. Thane Gash gets a shot at him. Here comes Clay Matthews, 57. He's pulling at the ball. He's still pulling at the ball while Brooks is trying to get in the end zone. The ball pops out.
A great second look. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Terry O'Neill. The producer of today's game, Terry Ewert. Director Ted Nathanson has a very major confab now going on in the end zone. The officials and Jerry Markbright. Sam White's awaiting the results, as are 80,000 people in the stands.
Well, Sam not wanting to get bit twice by an official's call, but once again you see number 57, Clay Matthews, just ripped that ball out of Brooks' hands. Now the only thing is, if they say that Brooks' forward progress had stopped, then that's the only way they could blow that ball dead. But Brooks was constantly trying to fight his way into the end zone. It looked like a clear fumble to me.
Jerry Markbright might get the hat award here, Ahmad.
It looks like he's had some kind of surgery on his head. That kind of hat on. It's not very stylish, that's for sure.
Huckleberry Hound used to wear one like that.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness during the running play on number 31, defense. The ball goes back to Cincinnati with a penalty from the line of scrimmage.
An unnecessary roughness call is against Frank Menafield of the Cleveland Browns, their Pro Bowl cornerback. He's been to 3 straight Pro Bowls, the last 2 as a starter, but that was the most expensive play. It negates a fumble recovery.
That time, the pushing and shoving came at a very inopportune moment for the Cleveland Browns because they had a chance to make a big play there.
Defensive foul, first down Bengals at the 3-yard line. No score. 11:06 to go in the first half. Esiason contending with intense crowd noise as the carry is down to the goal line. Greg Taylor, a 6th-round draft choice from West Virginia, 225-pound power back, who White has called on more and more in the absence of Ickey Woods. And he's down with the nose of the ball close to the goal line.
And now all of a sudden you see Cincinnati trying to go with that hurry-up offense, trying to keep the Browns from making any kind of substitution.
Timeout, Cleveland.
Cleveland combating that hurry-up offense with using one of their timeouts. There's Ickey Woods. That's the man that down here was almost Mr. Automatic. Anytime that Cincinnati got inside the 5-yard line, Ickey Woods was the man that took it over.
So the Bengals have it point-blank range as the Browns take a timeout to get the defense together. The Bengals get renewed life after a fumble by James Brooks, his second of the game, a foul call. Personal foul against Frank Minifield gives the Bengals first and goal. Now it's 3rd and goal, and they don't get in. 3rd and goal coming up after another try goes short. Again, they try it right at the Cleveland defense, and the Browns shut it down. Leading tackler Mike Johnson, 59. Interesting guy. An academic All-American at Virginia Tech, where he studied architecture. He's been the spearhead of the Cleveland defense on these short yardage stops.
We got an offsides penalty, but that doesn't matter that much at this point, because when they move the ball an inch,
they get the down over.
They get the down over. That's the most important part of it in terms of moving the ball. You know what? Almost any team in the league, you give them 4 shots inside the 5-yard line or inside the 2-yard line, you're almost guaranteed going to give up 6 points. It's going to take a great effort by this Brown defense to keep these guys out of the end zone. And now this play by Minifield really becomes a huge play, because all of a sudden the Browns had the ball.
I couldn't see the offside, but the linesman did. So now it is 2nd and goal from inside the 1. End around, James Brooks. He's heading in. Touchdown, Cincinnati. So the Browns shot the gaps on a goal line defense, and Boomer with a good play fake up the middle gave it on the sweep to James Brooks, who outran 51 Eddie Johnson. And the Bengals, who came in as a 4-point underdog in the local papers, take the lead 6-0.
Very good play call here by Sam White. While he's got everybody pounding up the middle, Boomer just fakes it into the middle of the line and hands it off to Brooks. Now it's a race between James, Brooks, and Johnson, and that's not going to work at all. And Brooks still taunting as he goes into the end zone. He is a feisty player.
Had a problem with the handle, but he is a great one, James Brooks. And here's the extra point. Kicked up. You see the wind take it. And there's a penalty marker down on the extra point also. Jim Breach kicked it. Saw Jim Breach yesterday at the hotel and asked him what's the most exciting Cincinnati-Cleveland game you can remember. He said in '84 we were down 17-7 to Cleveland. They knocked our 2 top quarterbacks, Anderson and Schoenert, out of the game. We sent a rookie in named Boomer Esiason. With a second left,
Personal
he threw a
foul.
touchdown pass to a tackle, Anthony Munoz.
On number 53, Cincinnati, 15-yard penalty and re-kick.
That's going to be a long field goal attempt there.
And it's not guaranteed. This is a big penalty right here, because with this wind swirling around, nothing is guaranteed. Especially the toughest part of a football game when you got a windy conditions is the kicking game. So now all of a sudden Jim Breach, you know, having a shot at a little extra point, now has to kick a real field goal.
To conclude that, Jim Breach, who's number 3 and getting set, he said after Esiason threw to Anthony Munoz with a second left for the tying touchdown, he then kicked a field goal in overtime to win it. Breach did. That's his fondest memory of this series.
He may get another chance like that in a game like today.
This is the equivalent of a 35-yard field goal. Gusting wind at his back, but it's swirling. It'll take it either way. But he makes it work. So the Bengals put some excitement back in the extra point, but make it work. And the Bengals go in front 7-0 as the game clock shows 10 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the first half. Sam White's with his game face on.
Once again, a nice little reverse. Hands it off to James Brooks around the left end, and he's just off to the races. And you watch him get in here. This is a little bit, he likes to taunt people.
I don't know if I'd be doing that, Eddie Johnson.
It was a little bit early, but he said, you know, when I get those guys fired up, they try to hit me hard, and that's when I fake them out.
So Brooks, one fumble, but also a lot of plus yardage. 9 carries, 67 yards. The last him a yard out for the first score of the game. It is 7-0 Cincinnati. Let's check the scoreboard as we look at these all-important divisional games being played today. Houston has now fallen 10 points behind. Merrill Hodge ran 4 yards for a touchdown. Second quarter for the Steelers. The Steelers up 10-0.
Well, the Cleveland Browns came in here looking for a ground game. They haven't found one yet. They've had 4 rushes for just 6 yards. And I think it's very important to take that pressure off of Bernie Kosar and Eric Metcalf, that they've got to run the ball a little bit. Boomer's got that same kind of hat on there as Jerry Markbright. Sort of
that train robbers get up. It's interesting, when we met yesterday with Bud Carson out, he said sooner or later in this league, you've got to run the ball to win, because as you wear on in the season, particularly where we play, weather's going to take away your pass game.
That's exactly right, and it becomes a fact that you really cannot pass. If that's all you do, then you have linebackers sitting in all the passing zones. You have the defensive line just teeing back, coming at your passer every time. You must be able to run the ball. There hasn't been any teams that have made it all the way through the Super Bowl on just the pass.
Lee Johnson hits a high spinning kickoff downfield. Metcalf from the goal line. 10, 15. Looks for room. There is none, and he goes down at the 16-yard line. So now, while we have a moment, let's go to NFL Live in New York and Bob Costas. Bob?
All right, Don, you don't have to tell the Browns how tough the Chiefs can be. They've jumped on the Dolphins 13-0. Here's DeBerg, 38 yards to the big play guy, Stephon Page. Earlier, Christian Okoye had scored from 3 yards out, but Nick Lowry missed the conversion. The first time he's missed a point after touchdown after 197 in a row. It had been the longest streak in the league. Back to Don and Ahmad.
Thank you, Bob. Lowry, of course, had problems here. Missed a couple of field goal tries in overtime as the Browns and the Chiefs played to a 10-10 tie 3 games ago. Kosar on first down, sidearms the ball to Langhorne, who's out to the 25-yard line. He'll be about a yard short of a first down. So Kosar comes out. His arm seems to be a little bit more of a problem maybe than he would indicate, because he's really kind of side-arming the ball in some of these throws him out.
Yeah, but you know, he's one of these guys that has all kind of different deliveries.
Yeah,
you know, so it's very hard to tell. When I talked to Mark Trestman about their offense, he said, well, you know, we are of the mindset that it's not really what we're doing. We got to do it better. It's like we don't want to throw everything out and try to come with something different. Whatever we're trying to do, we need to do it a little bit better. It's the turnovers and the mental errors that are killing us.
1 turnover so far, that by James Brooks, almost 2 by Brooks. Here's Metcalf. He is not a tackle breaker at 185 pounds, but if he gets a gap, you find him in the end zone. He knows where that is.
As I look on the sideline, I see Kevin Mack staying loose. There's Kevin Mack right there.
Back. Crumry and Zandu are on the last stop for the Bengals.
He said this is his kind of day. Said the last 3 weeks the trainers have had him lifting weights, running. He's in the best shape of his life, and he's more motivated than ever.
Brown set up first down and 10 at their 27-yard line. They trail the Bengals 7-0 second quarter. Kosar incomplete. He tried to get it upfield to his tight end Ozzie Newsome. The Wizard of Oz, number 82 from Alabama. Sure, Oz has a heavy heart over that. Bama lost to the War Eagles yesterday when he was leaving the practice field yesterday. That's the last thing he said to us, Ahmad, waving his fist. Roll Tide!
Well, he used to catch balls like this. The ball just gets by him. It's he's just now turning around as that ball, and you see a lot of zip on that ball by Kosar. That's one of the reasons why I don't think that elbow is bothering him too much, because he was looking for Webster Slaughter, couldn't find him, and his second choice was Ozzie Newsome, and he put it to him in a hurry.
Should be duly reported that Ozzie's caught more balls than any tight end in the National Football League history, over 630. Manoa, the power back from Penn State, on 2nd down and 10 doesn't get much as he tries to take it straight ahead of the Cincinnati defense. Manoa's been in the end zone 5 times this year, averaging 3.4 a carry. Browns average 3.6 yards a rush, but in recent weeks they've not run the ball well.
One of the funny things that there's Mark Trestman there, the offensive coordinator and one of my former teammates, and I'm sure he got his philosophy from Bud Grant. It's not what you do, it's how well you do it, and that's all he talks about in trying to get this offense started. But I talked to Tim Manoa before the game, and somebody walked in the locker room and said, "Where would you rather be on a cold day like this?" Manoa said, "Hawaii."
That's right. But you can't move the game, and right now they're working in tough winds as Kosar stands in, makes a throw. Incomplete to Brennan. Brennan running a little curl in pattern, and the throw by Bernie Kosar, as you can see, was wide left. There's also a penalty marker down in the Cincinnati secondary.
Manoa was looking for Webster Slaughter deep, and we've got a holding call going against.
Okay, we got a very unhappy Lewis Billups down there. He's going to get himself thrown out unless he.
Holding number 24, defense, automatic first down.
Automatic first down for the Cleveland Browns as the ball is advanced out now close to their 35-yard line. Browns working towards the open end of Cleveland Stadium.
Well, those referees, they get that mindset when a guy starts arguing. They go, "Methinks he argues too much." So evidently he must be a little guilty.
7:33 to play. First half. Bengals in white holding to a 7-0 lead on a 1-yard James Brooks run. Metcalf. And bang come the Cincinnati tacklers again. Left side of the Bengal defense is there. Leon White led the charge, 51. Jason Buck, 99, was also on the play, along with Crumry.
The same book on Metcalf, the same book on Brooks is on Metcalf. Is talked to the Cincinnati Bengals. They say, I talked to David Fulcher. He said, "We want to keep Metcalf running left and right, east and west. We don't want him to give him a chance to turn that ball up the field." And Metcalf is out here all by himself on the flank.
He's got Fulcher against him, the strong safety. There's an overmatch that I'm sure Kosar will pick up right away. On 2nd down and 7, Metcalf near has a strong safety against him. He's going near side. This time it's to Newsom coming underneath. And Ozzie Newsom takes on people and gets just where he had to go. To the 46-yard line. It's a first down for Cleveland. David Fulcher knocked him out of bounds.
We talked about Holman for Cincinnati being maybe the best tight end in football. Here's one of the guys that was certain to be in the Hall of Fame. That's Ozzie Newsom, still being productive after all these years. An excellent play, knows right where the first down marker is. They put Metcalf out on the side. He brings the defense in as Newsom brings it out, makes the catch, and runs right ahead for the first down.
First down. Manoa, both arms on the ball. Straight ahead, close to the 50. He got 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7. Jason Buck, number 99, a former #1 draft choice out of Brigham Young, was on the stop. Buck, not heavy, 255 pounds, but one of the strongest players on the Bengal team.
He's very deceptive looking. You see him without his uniform. In his street clothes, he looks like he's about 230 pounds.
He does.
Looks like a basketball player.
He's like Scow, who's out with an injury. But Buck, he lifts him at 264. He doesn't weigh that now. He weighs 255, he said yesterday. And he bench presses over 450. 2nd and 6 for Kosar and the Browns, who trail by 7. Down with the ball is Eric Metcalf as he gets to the 47-yard line.
One of the things I'd have to say about this Brown offense is that seeing that they don't have the inside running game that they like, they do a fine job of moving the ball around and keeping those linebackers busy by getting the ball to Metcalf out in the flat.
A reminder to our viewers to stay tuned for the second half of today's NFL doubleheader on most of these NBC stations. The Los Angeles Raiders drive for a wild card berth, faces a challenge today when they host the AFC's Western Division champions, the Denver Broncos. Others will see the Jets battle the Chargers. That's immediately following this Bengal-Browns game. 3rd down coming up. 3rd and 3. Marker down. Play. Whistle dead. As Kosar started his drop, the official whistled the play dead. And the call was apparently an illegal procedure.
68, offense.
On Ted Banker, the left guard, number 68.
Ted Banker out there in shirt sleeves. And did the sun come out down, or is this cold making me delirious?
The lights are on.
Oh, it's something. It lightened up a little bit out there,
It did
there on the field.
The lights are on.
Ted Banker, just before that snap, is pulling off the line of scrimmage, and that's why they threw that flag on him. And that's the sun that I saw. The lights are on.
It could be a lot worse. The original projection was for 8 inches of snow today. I think it's too cold to snow.
It's always funny when people talk about the weather. They want to know what the wind chill. If it's below 20, what difference does it make what the wind chill is?
Downfield throw. It's intercepted by Ricky Dixon, who's on the run. Dixon, the former All-American at Oklahoma, is knocked out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. So Kosar, throwing into the wind, sees a ball hang, and Dixon, with that great quickness, moves up on it, makes the play. We're even in turnovers, and now the play seems to be coming back. A marker's down at the line of scrimmage.
Oh, the Bengals were
Offside. Number 27. Defense. Still third down.
Barney Bussey, number 27, is ruled offside.
He was way offside. Watch Barney Bussey at the top of your screen, number 27. He's all the way over in the defensive backfield. Now the ball snapped, and Bernie, realizing he had a free play, just tried to air it out up there, and that's a good play, smart play by Kosar. If you're sure that the penalty is on the other team, just throw it up there. You might get a touchdown.
Good that Bernie saw the flag. Metcalf on 3rd down and 3 gets close to a first down, but it's not going to get there. Bring up 4th down. They'll be a yard short, Ahmad.
I have a feeling this is a huge play. Now, this is a guy that they missed, Kevin Mack. On a short yardage play like that in years past, he'd be the guy they'd be going to. And when I talked to him earlier before the game, he thought that he was going to get a lot of playing time in short yardage situations, but we got a lot of time to play.
Well, the Browns, playing percentages, won't risk it on 4th down, and they have Brian Wagner in to punt the ball. He hits an end-under-end kick. Nicely done. It'll carry down inside the 15, where it's picked up by Kendall Smith, and he's quickly down to about the 16-yard line. A 33-yard punt by number 15, Brian Wagner, a 2-yard return, and the Bengals with a 7-0 lead are ready to take over the ball again. The headlines on today's NFL Live show: Bill Walsh of NBC Sports, the former 49er coach, said that it is strictly a legal block, those roll blocks, the one that took Lawrence Taylor out of Monday night's loss at San Francisco.
It's a legal block, but a lot of the guys around the league feel like, you know, in sportsmanship, you want to hit a guy a little higher than the knees.
Eric Dickerson said he's serious about retiring after next season, and as you reported, Ahmad, Kevin Mack is ready to play today. We saw him on the sideline in uniform. He's not fit in yet. As the Bengals, with a 7-0 lead in the second quarter, take over the ball. Left-hander Boomer Esiason going deep. Running the fly is James Brooks. Terrific coverage by Thane Gash, number 30, and it'll be 2nd down and 10. We'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player at the conclusion of today's game. The Pittsburgh Steelers holding that 10-0 lead over Houston. Conceivably, Kansas City with a big lead over Miami now. If the Steelers should beat the Oilers, if the Bengals should beat the Browns, this division would be something. Cleveland would still lead at 7-5-1, but there'd be 3 7 and 6s right behind them with 3 to play.
Every team takes a dip, but I guarantee you, Houston doesn't want to take a dip at this time of the season. Pittsburgh took theirs early.
Houston took a dip last week at Kansas City, losing 34-0. Stanford Jennings is shut down as those Browns keep attacking the ball.
Well, Bud Carson told us, Don, that he wanted his defense to get out there and be a little bit more reckless, and they've been that so far today.
These people in the stands are unbelievable here, aren't they, with the dogs with tigers in their mouth?
And they probably have children at home. Responsible adults. Having fun. That's all right. They can have that fun. As long as they don't throw anything, I think this is good for the game.
Big down now. The Cleveland D digs in. The Bengals with 3rd down, and they need 9. All position at their 17-yard line. Esiason gets time. Out pattern to Eddie Brown, but he ran before he caught it. And the Bengals have to punt the ball. Here's a penalty marker down after the play. Could be an expensive personal foul against Cleveland.
Felix Wright was right there ready to make the play. But the middle error comes when after Eddie Brown dropped the ball, he was spun out of bounds and then thrown to the ground all the way out of bounds. I mean, he got a chance to stop him. He obviously dropped the ball. Felix trying to make the play, forgot where he was on the field, spun Eddie Brown down, and all of a sudden they get a penalty. Watch the end of the play. Eddie Brown coming out of the slot here. Now here he comes out to the flat, number 81. He misses the ball here. Now Felix is still holding him. Now they're out of bounds, and Felix throws him down, and Bob Beeks throws the flag. There's another look. The ball's gone. Felix is on top of him. Now they're way out of Brown. We're calling it back.
I don't think Felix knew it was dropped, though, Ahmad. I don't think he was trying to throw down a guy he thought caught the ball. And the play goes as an incomplete pass. And so the Bengals will send their punter out. Lee Johnson comes out.
Well, they dodged a bullet on that one.
Yeah, they did.
That was a huge play.
Johnson knows these conditions. He punted one season here at Cleveland.
He told me that the worst thing about this is with the wind swirling and gusting that you got to make sure you put the ball right on your foot. You can't drop it or else it could blow right away. Now, Ice Cube McNeil told me he's due, and if he gets a line drive, he's taking it back.
Well, he gets one. He's going to run back if he can field it on the hop. Gerald McNeil goes for the ball, picks it up, and McNeil is out of bounds at about midfield. But good field position for the Cleveland Browns. They'll go 1st and 10 from midfield after a 37-yard punt by number 11, Lee Johnson, and a return of just 2 yards. So Kosar brings the Brown offense back out. Bernie has now gone 11 quarters without a touchdown throw. He was on a hot streak and a 3-game winning streak. He threw for 7 touchdowns and just 2 interceptions, but after he banged his elbow, he's not been effective, hitting for 6.
Just had a look at that dog pound, as I mentioned in the pregame show, that they have all been to obedience school, and they're, you know, they've straightened up their act.
Just got a report here, Ahmad. The Houston Oilers have just scored. Warren Moon to Curtis Duncan. It's 10-7. Pittsburgh over the Oilers at Three River Stadium. Pitch back, Eric Metcalf. He can throw it. He'll run it, and not very far, and they have lost a yard. Bengals with pursuers, holding position, waiting for his cutback. Carl Zander, a very good linebacker from Tennessee, was the first to make the strike. It'll be 2nd and 10 now for the Cleveland Browns at their 49-yard line.
Barry Redden coming in for Tim Manoa, because they need it. They really need, the Browns do, they need somebody that can run that ball up the middle, because if you get somebody that can put a little bit of pressure on those linebackers, make them stay home, then all of a sudden Eric Metcalf becomes a much bigger, big play man.
2nd down and 10. Kosar taking a deep look, throws, and it's tipped away. Beautifully defended against by Ricky Dixon, number 29, the man who thought he had an interception earlier, only to have the play negated by one of his teammates, Bussey, having jumped offside before the snap.
You can't do it any better than this. Reaches right around, knocks the ball away, doesn't give the receiver a chance to even make the play.
And this Ricky Dixon will knock you into next week.
Ricky Dixon is as fine a cornerback as they have in the league. He's so quick, he's fast, and like you said, Don, he will deliver a blow. One of the leading tacklers on this football team.
We saw him hit the Steeler tight end one game. That poor young man came to about Wednesday. But he's okay now. Dropping to throw is Kosar on 3rd and 10. He buys some time, and Bernie doesn't like to run. Look at that lead pass, but it is not fielded by Reggie Langhorne. And another marker's down, stopping the clock with 2:48 to play, first half. Cincinnati 7, Cleveland nothing.
Number 99, Jason Buck, holding his head. I don't know if, well, maybe he thought the play was against him, but obviously they're pointing the other way.
Ineligible receiver downfield on the forward pass, number 63. Penalty decline, 4th down.
Cody Risen going downfield to block when he saw Bernie scrambling, so he's called as an illegal receiver downfield. And that brings up 4th down and 10 now for the Cleveland Browns. They have to punt the ball into the swirling wind. Brian Wagner, their punter, averaging just under 40 yards a punt. Kendall Smith is the return man for the Bengals. Chill factor at kickoff time, 10 below 0. And it's not warming up. And the Browns will down the ball at the 26-yard line. 25-yard punt. At halftime, we'll be going to NFL Live to Bob Costas and O.J. Simpson with the scores and the highlights as the NFL starts down the stretch run, the final 4 games of the season. Mike Shanahan today makes his return to the L.A. Coliseum, back as the offensive coordinator of the Broncos after being ousted as coach of the L.A. Raiders earlier this season. Band warming up.
There are a lot of things that I would not want to do in the cold, and one of them is put my lips on a trumpet.
I just remember what you said, Ahmad, when you were in Minnesota when you played outdoors. You didn't go out to warm up because that couldn't be done.
That's right. That didn't work.
Did use in the locker room. Draw play, and the Bengals break it ahead on a first down play to the 33-yard line. A gain of about 7 on the play. James Brooks was tackled by number 97, Robert Banks, who came here from the Houston Oilers.
Just a little bit of a draw. Boomer Esiason able to be pretty successful throwing the ball. Now he keeps the Cleveland defense off balance by just a little draw play. And they go with the hurry-up offense.
Swing pass. James Brooks on the run, putting on moves, and Brooks dives ahead and somehow gets a first down. He was challenged at the 35-yard line as we're down to the 2-minute warning. And then he put on that burst and took on the tackler. It's a first down for the Bengals as we have the 2-minute warning. Brooks has the only points of the game. He's in from the yard out at 7-0 Cincinnati.
Get a look at something that I never got a chance to see when I was playing, a heater.
That was Bud Grant.
No, he didn't believe in any of those heaters. I wish I would have seen one of them babies.
And there is a handout, a little printed article that Hanford Dixon's name is on, and he asked the people in the pound. He, of course, Hanford Dixon, the top dog, to please behave in that pound. Don't be throwing those dog bones.
That's right. He told me it's an anti-ignorant statement that he made to those people. Don't be ignorant.
He started this whole dog business, telling the defense they had to attack like a pack of dogs, and they started barking, and the legend was born. Here is on the run Boomer Esiason on first down. He gets to the 45-yard line. Gain on the play of about 8 yards.
Now all of a sudden you watch Boomer go to work. This is what he likes to do best. They get in this situation where they got no huddle. Everybody's at the line of scrimmage. He gets to call the play.
And he has the swirling wind at his back as they go to James Brooks. First down to midfield. Esiason having a terrific year. Tackled by Michael Dean Perry on Brooks. Esiason's thrown for 19 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions, as Coach Carson is cooling off. Confab of the top offensive people. Sam White's in the center on the left. About ahead is Bruce Coslett, the offensive coordinator. He's a cold-blooded dude.
Yeah, he didn't even have a hat on his head.
Bernie Kosar yesterday in practice was, while his teammates were all bundled up, he had a little, one of those baseball undershirts. Said he was cold-proofing himself. Set for today.
Well, it was a lot warmer yesterday than it is today.
But it was still no day at the beach.
That's true.
First down, time of factor. Bengals lead the game with 1:34 to play first half. They have a 7-0 lead. Esiason with that long ball arm takes the deep drop. Stands in. Fires. It's dropped by Eddie Brown. A low throw at the 42. Game clock down to 1:29 and stopped. Eddie Brown, part of a national championship team at the University of Miami, and a QB that threw to him when he was an All-American was Bernie Kosar, the Browns.
Boomer Esiason looking for Eddie Brown the entire way. Eddie coming underneath the defense and just not able to find the handle on that ball.
Eminently catchable, though.
Certainly catchable.
Easy for me to say. Huh?
Well, I'm sure that Eddie Brown, being the receiver he is, would agree that he should have caught that ball.
Second down and 10 for Esiason. He's got time. Lets her rip. And the ball seemed to take off in the wind. It'll be third down and 10 as we again check the scoreboard.
You got a chance to see there the effects of that wind. That ball just blew right out of bounds.
I tell you, Kansas City is an oncoming force.
We saw them earlier in the year, and they had an excellent defense. All they had to do was get that offense going, and it seems to me in the last couple weeks they have.
Her defense grades out #2 in the NFL. Marty Schottenheimer, of course, the coach of the Chiefs after his years here at Cleveland when he had 3 straight divisional championship teams. Long ball, but too much on it for fast Eddie Brown. Esiason just a flick of the wrist, and it's downfield 45 yards. Minifield was defending on the play, 31, along with Tony Blaylock.
And Minifield, one of the best in the business. He's one of those guys that studies films on receivers all the time, reads the playbook, knows what to expect in different situations, and he's a little teeny guy, but he plays a lot bigger than he is.
That's right. Don't try to throw it over his head. He has a 44-inch vertical leap. That's about what Michael Jordan has.
That means he has the ability to jump over a van in one hop.
He's fooled a lot of quarterbacks going way up to come down with the ball. Here's a punt downfield. Lee Johnson's punt hits inside the 5 and carries in. The Browns will have it, but with just 70 ticks on the first half clock. It is a doubleheader day on NBC Sports. Most of you will see the Broncos, who've already won the AFC West, head into Los Angeles, where the Raiders are very much alive in pursuit of a wild card. Some of you will see the Jets and the Chargers go to at San Diego.
You know, a tough thing, Don, when you win the division so early, you really can't stand the letdown, because at this point in the season, you want to try to get better and turn it up a notch, because you know the playoffs are coming ahead, so they don't, you know, they don't have a big cushion there, even though they've already won the division.
Well, that happened to Buffalo last year. The Bills won it in the 12th week. I think they were 11-1. They lost 3 of their next 4. They went to the playoffs, but lasted for only 1 victory, then went out at Cincinnati. Kosar throws too low for Brian Brennan, incomplete. It'll be 2nd down and 10 with a minute and a second left.
Bernie told me yesterday that balls that he tries to throw, he tries to keep the ball low. So his receivers, because he said if you get it up in a certain area, the wind starts to play tricks with it. So he tries to throw it low all the time. Receivers just got to get down and make that catch.
His offensive line, as you know, has been under fire. As Bernie told us yesterday, he said, tough position to play offensive line. The only time you hear anything about it is when things are going bad. When you're going good, nobody gives them any attention. Handoff. Breaking it on this play is Barry Redden out across the 30-yard line. They'll spot him right at the 30. The Browns quickly going into alignment without a huddle.
Barry Redden with those fresh legs.
Back to the run they go, looking for the Bengals to be an all-out rush in a deep zone. Fans boo the play call as the game clock is down to 39 seconds and timeout is called.
It was a good play. They pick up the first down and then take a timeout to try to regroup. You see Barry Redden there, and I talked to him also before the game, and he just, you know, he felt like he said, my legs are fresh. I get a lot of reps in practice, but if Mark Trestman and Bud want me to go in, I'll be ready to play.
Another score in from Pittsburgh, and the Houston Oilers have come from behind in the first half with 10 seconds to play in the second quarter. Warren Moon threw to Drew Hill for 27 yards, and the Oilers, after trailing 10-0, now lead the Steelers 14-10.
There's an interesting thing. Bernie Kosar on the sideline taking instruction from his coach, Mark Trestman, but all the while keeping his arm and his hand warm by playing catch with one of his other teammates the entire time while standing there.
He was doing that yesterday. Remember, he'd come out of the practice field and he'd go right back to throwing right away?
Yeah, I guess he wants to keep that thing loosened up. You know, he's got it taped. He's got that elbow taped. And a lot of times it'll cut off a little circulation if it's too tight, so he just keeps it going.
It's really taped. It almost looks like a cast on there when he took his shirt off. First down and 10 now, but time so much a factor. 39 seconds left. Browns trail 7-0. Here's a connection made to the 40-yard line. Reggie Langhorne comes down with the ball, but the game clock keeps ticking down.
Great catch by Reggie Langhorne. He's been in big situations before. He knew he had to catch that ball.
80,000 looking on. The most important game in the AFC Central. The Browns trying to get on the board. Kosar throws, but he's too far for Brian Brennan on a 2nd down and 3 play. And now just 14 seconds remain. And Bernie Kosar and the Browns offense working into this strong gusting wind. Trick play they could right into that bag right now, Matt. Come out with something. Hook and ladder.
Anything, just trying to get a big play, even though, you know, because of the situation here, getting close, you don't get a gimme field goal. Sam Weissner, he's the master of those trick plays.
That's Dick LeBeau there in the forefront. He's the defensive coordinator of the Bengals. Former all-pro defensive back for the Lions. Buckeye. Third down and 3 now. Comes up for Cleveland. 14 seconds to play in the half. Kosar stands in, lets it rip. Man is open. Langhorne on the run. And he gets out of bounds with 6 seconds left. It'll be a long field goal into a gusting wind. Maybe Kosar will try for one more throw. A 32-yard gain on the play.
Bernie Kosar, we mentioned that they're trying to get a big play. He pumps to the left, finds Reggie Langhorne here. A great route. Reggie Langhorne is wide open, and a very smart play right there by Langhorne getting out of bounds. He is a pressure receiver, and he's one of the guys you want to go to in a situation like this. Now the pressure is on Matt Barr.
They're not going to risk it with 6 seconds left. They're going to try the field goal. It'll be a 47-yard attempt into a gusting wind, and before we have it, we're going to have a timeout on the field.
This is the tough end of the field, Don. That wind blowing, it blows across the field. When you stand down there and stand down in that end zone, I bet you it's 5-10 degrees colder than the other end zone, because that's right where the wind's coming in.
This is the end zone that the Browns are going towards, where heartbreak struck in 1980 when it appeared they were going to beat the Raiders. But that throw into the end zone by Brian Sipe was intercepted by Davis. Mike Davis picked it off. Raiders won that wild card game and subsequently went on to beat the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Only wild card team to go the distance to a Super Bowl championship.
For Matt Barr, this is the time that he envies any kicker in the league that plays in a dome. Because under these circumstances, it is much different. I mean, you see kickers here that'll aim the ball like maybe 20 yards to the right of the field goal, of the uprights, and have the wind blow it back in.
He told me yesterday, Matt Barr did, that the footing concerns him as much as any wind. He said, you just don't know how your plant foot's going to settle in. Browns trailing 7-0. Barr hits it, and he does indeed play the wind and spins it back, but he does not get it to go. So Matt Barr has missed on a 50-yarder, now a 47-yarder. And the second quarter ends. The Bengals making the Brooks touchdown run from the yard out, stand up. They go to the locker room with a